I just want to let everyone know that the Northern Pines School District will be doing 3 public presentations to explain the rationale behind our school district referendum. Those presentations will be held at 6:30 p.m. on January 14th in St. Germain, January 25th in Land O'Lakes, and January 26th at the Northern Pines High School. Our next referendum will be February 16th, 2016, where the school district will be asking the residents to vote on a $3.9 million referendum, which would include 3 years. That would be $3.9 million per year for the 2016-17 school year, the 2017-18 school year, and the 2018-19 school year. And in addition, if this referendum is passed, we will be doing some security upgrades to all of our buildings, and also we will employ a police resource officer. When you go to vote on February 16th, this is what the actual ballot and resolution will look like. And you can see that, again, it's asking for $3.9 million per year for the 3 years, and then it does mention in the question about the security upgrades for the cameras and also the employment of a school resource officer. And then when you vote, you simply will check yes or no. It's important to understand that, again, I can't emphasize this enough, but it's really important to understand that if this referendum does pass, we will be, by law, required, because of the wording of the question, to make sure we implement those security upgrades, and we also employ that school resource officer for the 3 years of the referendum. And then at the end of the 2018-19 school year, if the referendum is passed, those referendum dollars actually go away at the end of 3 years, and then the district would have to implement a new referendum for the 2019-20 school year. Why do school districts need to go to an operational referendum? It has to do with the revenue limit or the revenue caps. Wisconsin Act 16, way back in the 1993-94 school year, implemented a law where the districts are limited as far as what they can raise in their levy through property taxes. And there's a formula that is used that gives you a dollar amount for the maximum amount of money that you can levy in property taxes. It's a complex formula, but there are a few basic steps used in the calculation. You take the previous year's base revenue, then divide that by an average of the district's most recent 3-year enrollment. Then you add the per pupil allowable increase by the state, if there is one, because that varies from year to year. Then you determine the new 3-year membership enrollment. And then step 4, you take the maximum allowable revenue per member, multiply by your new 3-year membership average. All that sounds very simple. Here is the actual form that's filled out. This is the formula that we use. And this is very complex to explain, but if you look at the bottom right-hand circled number, it's just over $16 million. So when you do the revenue limit, what that is telling the state that in our district, by law, we can only levy just a little bit over $16 million. However, our budget is nearly $25 million. So you can see the shortfall. Now, we do have some other revenues in there from title money and some other transportation aid and a few other federal programs, but the bulk of the shortfall comes through our referendum. And if you look on this sheet, you can see there's actually $2.7 million of referendum dollars that's in here because we are in the 3rd year of our 3-year referendum. It's important to remember now that that $2.7 million goes away at the end of this school year. Equalized aid is a component of general aid distributed to school districts based on the formula that takes into consideration each individual's district's equalized valuation and membership cost. So basically, they look at the value of all the property throughout the district, and then your school, your enrollment of all of your students within your district. Again, another problem for us, because we are considered to be a very property-rich school district with declining enrollment. When you look at this chart over the past 10 years, you can see the decreased aid that the Northern Pines School District receives. We were, nearly $350,000 back in 2006-07, and now we are right around that $70,000 mark. So you can see, again, there has been a significant decrease in our state aid, which then also affects our operational budget, which then in turn would affect any referendum. Our referendum is called a non-recurring referendum, and it's used for operational expenses. We are going to ask our residents to go above the state mandated limit that we can set for our budget. And by having it non-recurring, it simply means there is a sunset to this. And again, in our situation, we go for 3 years. And so at the end of the 3-year cycle, this referendum dollars by law must go away. And if we want to increase our budget again by going above the caps, we would have to hold another referendum when this referendum expires. Since 1993, there have been 1,059 operating referendums in Wisconsin. 517 have passed and 542 have failed. So many districts across the state must go to an operational referendum. If you look back at our operational referendum history, you can see that we actually started the referendum cycle back in 1998. And since then, we've had numerous operational referendums. And so, first one, October 6, 1998, and then April 6, 1999, June 29th, 1999, and then April 2nd in 2002. And the cycle continues with an operational referendum April 4th, 2006, June 27th, 2006, April 7th, 2009, and our last referendum was February 19th, 2013. And again, I can't emphasize enough that we are currently in the third year of that February 19th, 2013 referendum, so that money will go away June 30th of 2016 when our fiscal year ends. We are a property-rich school district, and if you look at the yellow highlighted column, you can see that if you add all the property value in our district, it comes to over $3 billion. And then you can see that our tax levy is $19 million. And so, again, with our budget being about $25 million, we definitely have a budget shortfall. And then you can see some of the other districts I list. Those districts are very close to our enrollment, and they are considered to be property-rich school districts also. So technically, the more property-rich a district is, the less equalized aid that district is going to receive. And you can see the amounts on this screen are the amounts we received last year. And so on our budget of about $25 million, we received just over $90,000 in state aid. And then when you go to the very last column, it's also important to emphasize that our district is very large geographically. Our district is 474 square miles. So we have a transportation cost is very high in our district because of the size of our district. Now let's look at some heavily aided school districts that are about our size. And you can see that their property value is much, much less than what we have in our district on the previous slide. And then when you go to their equalized aid, you can see that they're receiving 8 million, over 5 million, over 6 million, close to 8 million, and then again over $6 million. Compare that to our just a little bit over $90,000. It's a huge impact on the budget. Again, the rationale is basically the property value of the district has a lot to do with the funding formula. A good comparison for Northern Pines is the Little Chute School District, which is down in the Fox Valley over by Kaukauna and Appleton. And when you look at the comparisons between Northern Pines and Little Chute, you can see that our property value is much greater than Little Chute. And our budgets are, about $5 million difference. We're about over 25 million, and they're right around 20 million. But then when you look at the tax levy, we levy 19 million, where Little Chute levies 4.5 million. But look at the state aid. When you look at the equalized aid, they're receiving nearly $10 million in state aid compared to our $92,000. And then when you look at the biggest discrepancy is the size of the districts in square miles, where we are nearly 500 square miles. Little Chute is 3 square miles. So they don't have any daily transportation. So when you look at the budget, when you look at the 25 million compared to the 20 million, part of the reason for that is just take transportation alone. We spend 1.3 million in our transportation, and they don't have daily buses. Also, when you look at our 474 square miles, we have 3 small elementary schools where they have 1. So when you have 3 programs and 3 of everything, obviously it's going to add to the cost. There's nothing in the formula that allows for that. And so that's, again, another reason that we have to go to this operational referendum every 3 years. And then when you look at Jefferson, again, it's a district close to Madison, which is a little bit larger than Northern Pines. But when you look at that tax levy, with their budget's $37 million, and they only levy just under $10 million in taxes, and they get $12 million in state aid. And so, again, it's a big difference between Jefferson and Northern Pines. When you look at the mill rate of our history of our mill rate in our district, we've always been fairly low. And way back in 2005, 2006, we were at $5.98. And this year, 2015, 2016, we're actually at $5.97. And so the mill rate has been fairly consistent throughout the past 10 or so years. And when you look at the 2012-13 mill rate, where it went way down, that was the one year we did not go to a referendum. We actually took our existing referendum, which is a 3-year referendum, and stretched those dollars into 4 years using some of our fund balance. And so when that referendum money went away, that was a year where taxes went way down, because for the 2012-13 school year, there was actually no referendum dollars within our budget. And then the 2013-14 year, the referendum money came back. And so that's why you see an increase for the 2013-14 school year. And then when you look at 2016-2017 highlighted in red, that is an estimate of what the mill rate would be with a past referendum. When you compare the mill rates of the Northern Pines School District to the Great Northern Conference, which is the conference that we were in, you can see that we are the lowest by far when you compare us to the other schools within our conference. Let's look at some mill rates across the state. Now, keep in mind these are from 2014-15. There's 424 school districts in the state of Wisconsin. Look at the 10 lowest mill rates in the state, and you'll see that Northern Pines is number 8 of the 424 school districts at $5.92, and Gibraltar, which is Door County, is the lowest with $2.91. These are K-12 school districts. When you look at the highest K-12 districts across the state, you see Cassville has a mill rate of $17.05. So if you compare Cassville at $17.05 to Northern Pines at $5.92, we are quite a bit lower than Cassville and the other districts that we list that have high mill rates. Why does it cost more to operate the Northern Pines School District than other districts our size? Well, there's a few points I can emphasize. We already talked about the square miles. We're 474 square miles, which is considered an extremely large geographical school district. Again, transportation at $1.3 million annually for our transportation. It costs more to operate and maintain 3 small elementary schools. And we have 5 schools within our district. When you look at the 3 elementary schools, middle school, and high school. Many districts our size, we talk about our enrollment of 1,400 students, many districts our size would only have 2 or 3 school buildings within their district. Therefore, their cost is quite a bit less for operational than what we have on an annual basis. Why does the Northern Pines School District need to continue to go to an operational referendum? Well, once you begin that cycle, what happens is you don't have enough money in your budget to maintain your current programming. So once you start that operational referendum cycle, you will have to continue to go if the funding formula remains the same. Now, we choose 3 years. So our referendum is 3 years. And so when the 3-year ends and the referendum dollars go away, we will always have to come back to another referendum. Some districts choose to go 4 years or 5 years or even 6 years. And so that is their cycle. So whenever the cycle ends, you'll be forced to do another referendum. As fixed costs and expenses continue to increase and state funding and revenue limits continue to decrease, the Northern Pines School District will have a projected budget shortfall of over $4 million per year. That shortfall is based on what we can legally levy in taxes because of the revenue limit. Let's look at our budget shortfall for the 2016 through 2019 school years. You can see in 2016-17 our projected shortfall is $3.4 million. That increases in 2017-18 to $4.3 million, and then 2018-19 $4.9 million. So over the 3-year referendum years, we will have a budget shortfall of $12,712,000. Now, the proposed referendum at $3.9 million for 3 years comes out to $11,700,000. So even if we pass this referendum, we will still have a budget shortfall of just over $1 million. So we will have to cut money from our budget the 3 years of the referendum cycle, even with a passed referendum. Tax impact on our citizens. The mill rate at which property taxes are determined is on your property bill, on your property tax bill. If you look at your bill, you're going to see a city or township tax, Vilas County tax, Nicolay Area Technical College tax, and then the Northern Pines School District tax. And so when we look at how much will it increase with a past referendum, we are estimating that at a home valued at $100,000, taxes will increase about $34. If your home is valued at $200,000, then your taxes will increase $68, and on a $300,000 home, taxes will increase $102. And so when you look at how much will the mill rate increase, you're looking at about 34 cents per $1,000 of assessed valuation. So again, our mill rate then would be determined somewhere around $6.31 per thousand with a past referendum. How has the Northern Pines School District reduced operational cost? We've done a number of things the past few years to help reduce our budget, and I feel that we've been very fiscally responsible to our taxpayers. We continue to bid out our insurance. We've implemented a $5,000, $10,000 deductible HSA, HRA health insurance plan, and you can see the savings that we have because of this plan from 2010 through 2015. The savings has been substantial. We've reduced post-retirement benefits for certified staff with an estimated savings of about $65,000 per retiree. We've outsourced our food service to a private vendor. We've been very successful in writing grants and being awarded grants. All employees pay half of their Wisconsin retirement contributions with an estimated savings of over $600,000 per year. And we also share teachers between the middle school and the high school. How have we pursued additional revenues? Well, here's a list of the grants that we have been awarded from 2006 through 2015. Again, those dollar amounts really help with our budgeting purposes and help with our revenue. Also, we have completed 2 additional grants for the 2015-16 school year, and we won't know the outcome of those grants for a few weeks yet, but we're hoping that we are successful in receiving the 2 grants that we've applied for this school year. The Northern Pines School District has a great staff. I would consider our staff of high quality. And what makes our district really good is the quality of our staff, not just our teaching staff, all of our employees. We have employees that are very vested in this district and they really care about the students in our district. National Board for Professional Teaching Standards is a very prestigious certificate that teachers receive if they pursue that excellence in teaching. And I'm very happy to state that there's 972 teachers in Wisconsin that are certified by the National Board for Professional Teaching Standards. We have 16 in our district currently, and so that's amazing to think that of 972 across the state, we here at Northern Pines have 16 with that certification. And this year there were 24 Wisconsin school districts that had teachers that earned this prestigious certificate. In Northern Pines, along with Menominee Falls, had 3 new National Board certified teachers. So congratulations to our staff for a job well done. We also currently have 2 teachers that are finalists, state finalists for the Cole Fellowship Award, as we currently have 2 students who are finalists for this award. We have applied for the District of Distinction Award, which is a national award that recognizes schools for their leading way with new ideas. And we will know by late February or early March the outcome of this award. Our test scores have been high, and when you look comparing our district to other districts in our area, we consistently have high test scores, and we are above the state and national average. Great students in our district. You know, we've got students that I think the world of them. And when you look at our Project Unify, which is an educational-based project that uses sports and education programs to activate young people to develop school communities, just to see these kids engaged and working with everyone, it's truly amazing to see what our students do on a day-to-day basis across our district. And then, you know, it's nice to get recognized by other organizations, Department of Public Instruction. And then I want to share with you a phone call that we recently received.
Emily, hi. This is Barb Van Heeren, Director for the Special Education Team at the Department of Public Instruction. And calling on a positive note this morning, the department would like to highlight one of Northland Pines schools, actually the elementary school, I believe, in Eagle River, as a school that has actually shown growth in the area of literacy for kids with disabilities. And as part of our RDA work, we are in the process of identifying schools that might be demonstrating promising practices.
When you look at our open enrollment, you're going to see that we've worked very hard at trying to increase our open enrollment numbers. And again, looking at this current school year, we have 85 students that open enroll into our school district. DPI, or the Department of Public Instruction, comes out with school district report cards. And when you look at the past few years of this state-issued report card, Northern Pines, when you compare it to the other K-12 school districts in CESA 9, our district, it scores very well. And you can see that here we are at the top of the, from 2012-13, we're at the very top of our CESA with the highest overall report card score for our district. 2013-2014, we are 1/10 of a point behind Marathon City. So again, consistently at the top level of performance when it comes to our students. When we look at some of the editorials in the paper for our past referendums and the where the state funding level is, I think they get it right on here, where it talks about the flawed state revenue caps are the referendum culprit. We are being treated like every district across the state. It doesn't matter what our demographics are, the makeup of our district. There's nothing in that funding formula that differentiates from district to district. And so what bothers me is the fact that we have additional costs, we have additional expenses that other districts don't have. And the only way we can overcome that is by going to an operational referendum. This is where we stretched the referendum dollars, and we lowered our tax levy. And so again, I believe that we are very fiscally responsible to our taxpayers. We already talked about our test scores. We have very high test scores throughout our district, and I'm very proud of the fact that our students do very well academically. What will happen if this referendum fails? If this referendum fails, the Northern Pines School District will have an average budget deficit of $4,237,000 per year over the next 3 years. Some very difficult decisions will need to be made on how to balance the budget. All aspects of the district will be impacted, and we'll have to take a close look at everything that we do across our district. You can see that not only are we very strong academically here at Northern Pines, but when you look at all of our co-curriculars, our activities, our clubs, everything that we offer to our students, they are fully engaged. And for a small rural northern Wisconsin school district, we do offer a lot for our students, and we give them some great opportunities across our district in every building. It's really important that our students are engaged, they're active. They're not just active academically, but they're active in participation. Participating in co-curricular is so important, and we really try to encourage all of our students to get involved. If you're not going to be here for the referendum, you can certainly vote by absentee ballot. And if you go to our website, there is information on the website that will walk you through what you need to do to obtain an absentee ballot form. Also, you can contact your town clerk to request your ballot. But again, if you go to our website, you can see what you need to do to get that ballot to be able to vote. What are some of the questions that come up? Well, this question talks about, does the Northern Pines declining enrollment have anything to do with the opening of our SOAR and Montessori charter schools? And the answer is simply no, it does not, because those students are actually included in our enrollment count. And so we've increased our enrollment because of our additional charter schools and our personalized learning plans. And so these schools actually help our enrollment count. How many students are taking advantage of our charter schools or personalized learning plans? You can see from the table below that 145 students are enrolled in either charter schools or personalized learning plans in the Northern Pines School District. Of those 145 students, 27 students were previously either homeschooled, attended a private school, or are now open enrolled into our school district, directly due to our charter schools and other educational options. This has a very positive impact on our enrollment and revenue. In addition, 1,165 students are enrolled in traditional education. Therefore, the Northern Pines School District is educating a total of 1,310 students. And you can see from the chart below the breakdown of where and what grade levels our students are attending the Montessori School, SOAR Middle School, SOAR High School, personalized learning plans, and then our traditional classrooms. Will the SOAR charter schools and the Montessori Learning Center add to the Northern Pines School District annual budget? Yes, there have been a couple of staff members added to the budget due to our charter schools. However, it's important to note that we did receive over $600,000 in startup grants for the charter schools. The grant monies were used for opening the charter schools, equipment, supplies, technology, and curriculum. These schools are providing more opportunities for our students and choices for our parents, which is increasing enrollment by bringing additional students into our district. When will the 4 buildings be paid for, and when do they come off the tax levy? Well, very happy to say that the K-8 building, our building debt, was retired in 2012 and is now off the tax levy. The Land O'Lakes Elementary School and the St. Germain Elementary School debt was retired in 2014 and again is off our tax levy. The Northern Pines High School debt will be retired in 2024. And this will be our last building that will be coming off the tax levy, and again, that money will come off the levy in 2024. It's really important that you remember to vote on Tuesday, February 16th. You can visit our website for more information regarding the referendum. It's also, I want to make one last point in closing. It's also extremely important to remember that we are not adding an additional $3.9 million to our referendum or to our budget, because the $2.7 million from the previous referendum comes off the levy. So we are technically increasing the levy amount by $1.2 million. Again, become informed, and please remember to vote for the Northern Pines School District referendum on Tuesday, February 16th, 2016. Thanks for watching.